Well, new CBS News Battleground Tracker polling shows the race for Senate in Wisconsin is neck and neck. Incumbent Republican Senator Ron Johnson is running just 1 point ahead of Democratic Lieutenant Governor Mandela Barnes. And the state's race for governor is so close, it's incredibly close. Our polling shows incumbent Democratic Governor Tony Evers and Republican Tim Michels are tied. And in neighboring Michigan, Democratic Governor Gretchen Whitmer leads Republican challenger Tudor Dixon by 6 points in her reelection bid. So Kabir Khanna is here in Studio 57 to break down the races for us. He's a CBS News Deputy Director of Elections and Data Analytics. So thank you so much for joining us. I mean, I feel like we see this in a lot of places where you have very different candidates, but still they are neck and neck, and like the negative ads don't make a difference, you know, scandals don't make a difference. They are sort of really vying for probably that slim percentage of undecided.
Absolutely.
Because most people have already made up a decision.
That's absolutely true.
So let's look at Wisconsin. What are voters' reasons for supporting Johnson or Barnes in that tight race?
Let's take a look. It seems like Wisconsin is always tight these days. You'll remember Biden narrowly flipped the state after Trump narrowly won it in 2016. Here we see the two candidates neck and neck, Johnson up by a point. But of course, keep in mind when you look at any poll number, that margin of error. What that means is that this is voters' current preference, and Johnson's support could be as high as 53, 54%. It also means that this is totally within reach for Barnes at the moment. So what's going on underneath these numbers? So on the one hand, Barnes has a likability advantage. We asked voters, what do you think about the way these candidates handle themselves personally? And we've seen this dynamic over and over in Senate contests, which is often the Democrat will have an advantage compared to the Republican nominee. Barnes leads by 6 points on that measure. Obviously, that's not enough to propel him into the lead. So what else is going on? Well, part of the reason for that is that Wisconsin voters, like a lot of voters across the country this year, are really prioritizing the economy and inflation as key issues. Now, other things come to mind, like the issue of crime and even abortion, but over and over again, these two things are at the top. In Wisconsin specifically, we see that 3 in 4 voters call high prices when it comes to things like the price of gas, food, rising. That's been either difficult for them or even a financial hardship. And when people say those things in the polls, they're supporting Republicans in large numbers. And in Wisconsin, those voters are supporting Johnson. When we asked his voters in this poll, why are you supporting Johnson? The two big things are his economic policies and his record as a senator. When it comes to the more controversial positions he's taken, whether it's COVID or his views on abortion, those aren't really a factor for his voters.
Interesting.
Yeah.
It just, you know, when I see how kind of low abortion is, it just, the whole conversation was whether or not the overturning of Roe v. Wade would galvanize, you know, Democrats, whether or not they would sort of rush to the polls. But in actuality, it's those kitchen table issues that really ignite people to come to the polls. Somebody who's going to bring the price of gas down, or if they believe that to be the case.
Well, on that note, there's certainly evidence that the issue of abortion is a winning one for Democrats this year. And it has galvanized them. So even though abortion wasn't at the top of that list, that's everyone statewide. If you look at Democrats in Wisconsin and nationally, it's at the top of their list.
Interesting.
But everyone cares about those kitchen table issues, right? Democrats and Republicans. So that's going to push the numbers to the top.
Right. How do Wisconsin voters feel about Johnson's controversial stances?
Right. So let's just take a look at a couple of things that have to do with statements Johnson's made in the recent past. So one has to do with his views on overturning the 2020 election. Now, half of voters statewide say that, yeah, Johnson did want those results overturned. We were asking people, do you know what his positions were? Do you think that he wanted the results accepted? Very few take that. But 4 in 10 say they're not sure which side of that issue he's on.
And what has he said about this?
Well, he was involved in a scheme essentially about fake electors. So, you know, this is an allegation. I think more information is going to come to light about that. But reporters have basically been trying to chase him down to find out what exactly did your office do? What did you pass on to the Trump campaign or vice versa? So there's certainly confusion about that in the voters' minds, too. And that actually helps Johnson because this not sure position is where the majority of his supporters and Republicans are at the moment.
Yeah. Okay, let's head over to Michigan.
Sure.
The governor's race there. Race and the abortion referendum. an issue there.
Right. Let me get over to Michigan for us.
Yeah.
So first of all, let's start with the governor's race. So incumbent Governor Gretchen Whitmer has a 6-point lead in current vote preference over challenger Tudor Dixon. What I do want to say is here is that this includes people who said they weren't sure who they're going to vote for in the poll, but then in a follow-up question said that I'm leaning towards Whitmer or I'm leaning towards Dixon.
Okay.
What is going on behind Whitmer's numbers? So the first thing is that she's doing better when it comes to job approval than Joe Biden is in the state. Michigan's economy has been hard hit, and a lot of voters say that actually it's the policies of the Biden administration that have made the economy worse, not better. One of the challenges for Whitmer, and something that looks like she's been relatively successful at doing, is decoupling herself from the Biden administration's policies and running on her own brand. To that point, 6 in 10 Michigan voters describe her views as mainstream. By almost 2 to 1, they say the opposite of the challenger Tudor Dixon. They also tend to describe Whitmer as competent. And in another dynamic we see in lots of battleground states, Whitmer is seen as less extreme than Dixon, meaning a majority of voters label Dixon as extreme in her views, not so for Whitmer. 2 key groups that are underlying Whitmer's support are women. There's a huge gender gap in this state. Women are going for Whitmer at the moment by 19 points. Women are narrowly supporting Dixon. And then the overlapping group, something we talked about earlier in Wisconsin, people who say abortion is very important to their vote this year. As you can see here, they're going for Whitmer by a huge lopsided margin, by over 2 to 1. That's part of the reason, that's what's boosting her numbers and part of the reason she's ahead. Let me just go quickly to the last question, which is that abortion is directly on the ballot this year in Michigan, right? People are voting on a constitutional amendment to establish the right to abortion. We polled voters on that. Among Michigan likely voters, 54% at the moment say they're voting yes to establish the right to abortion, whereas only 38% say they're voting no at the moment. Again, we have 4 weeks to go until Election Day. Don't be surprised if these numbers change. The other thing I want to say, when you poll ballot initiatives and referenda, what you will often see is that the yes position can be overstated in the polls and the no position ends up overperforming at the ballot box. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but it happens a lot because people often don't want to shake things up too much when it comes to actually pulling that lever or pressing that button. And reverting to the status quo often does a little bit better than when this is just a hypothetical.
I think it's really interesting when there are so many neck-and-neck races, when you sort of think about the really sort of loud anti-COVID protests in Michigan, and it gave you a sense that there was like a very sort of powerful, strong, right-leaning constituents there. You know what I mean? Voters there.
Absolutely.
And we're seeing something a little bit different here now.
Yeah, I mean, that's certainly true, and that element exists, but often the most vocal isn't the most representative, right? So there are a lot of folks in Michigan that are more middle of the road, care about those kitchen table issues, and that's what we see in the polling, that those things pop up over and over.
Kabir, great having you here. Thank you.
My pleasure.